Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. It is March 2019. This is our 105th episode. Joining usual, of course, Joe.
Yep.
Today we have a very interesting docket for you. Of course, we're going to start talking about that a Fallout RPG has been announced by Modiphius. Talk about how that is related to their miniatures game. Then Nemo Rising, a co-op board game, wizkids that's been announced. Lantern Dice Lights the Sky is up for pre-order. Usaoploy has announced a Batman talisman game. You kind of play Batman villains, and there's pre-order open for expansion for the game LA Cry. And then Plat Games has announced Quirky Circuits. So there's a lot of events and pre-orders this week, but it's interesting things to talk about. Why don't, of course, we start with what I had up at the beginning of the show, because I forgot the image of it. The Fallout. So, Fallout, if you're not familiar with it, is since Fallout 3, it's really been more tactical RPG, and more of like an action tactical. I don't know where, because it's got a lot of first-person shooter aspects,
I would say it's almost a tactical RPG.
Like the tactics, like an XCOM or the original one Fallout 2. Those were real tactics games. I'm sure there's like a level of tactics to it, but I've played a lot of the Fallout 3 where you can just spam shooting things for first person shootery. It's not as good as if you use some of the tactics. Open world.
I actually just started playing the original.
That's cool.
I played the original.
I know it's a tactics game, and I've seen a little bit of it, but I feel like maybe I should play through it anyway. Fallout Wasteland Warfare is actually what they would call a role-playing game action, building on their kind of narrative tabletop miniature game that Modiphius already had. So this is based on Modiphius, character creation rules. More creating adventures in the land, and more. The thing about this is, because it's supposed to be more of an RPG expansion for their miniatures game. Does that mean you have to have the miniatures game? And I haven't really seen enough to tell me that you do. Is the only thing. It's designed.
Well, it says it's a standalone role-playing expansion.
Okay, so theoretically, you get with the miniatures. But you don't need to.
Yeah, I think it's just like the miniatures would act like minis, like we use for D&D stuff.
Well, that's good then. It is. They do recommend up to 6 players, 1 game master, a traditional RPG, which is definitely great. I guess if miniatures game, you have an idea, because the miniatures is supposed to have a little bit of RPG elements to it, and this is kind of expanding on these.
Yeah. Here is the link for I found direct stuff on Modiphius' site for the expansion.
Okay, great.
Just in case people want to look at it.
I just messed with that. That's okay. That's the exact space I was at, so that's good.
Okay.
So you do get if you get the physical copy, you get the PDF, get the character cards from it, weapon cards, character archetype, character playmat. So they're selling a lot of stuff together, but I don't. This is
I'm not seeing a price.
Yeah, that's the thing, is we don't know the price yet. They have shown off a collector's edition, which has like a vault symbol on it, and it's very nice looking, but it's very blue and nondescript. I feel like like the basic book, which they're also kind of showing off, I feel like I like that better. Now, it's coming in summer of this year, so it's not far off. I think they're saying summer of 2019.
Yes. Coming summer of 2019.
Okay. So, and this is the one that's coming in 2019 is going to be deeper based on the Wasteland Warfare miniatures game, but they're coming out with a second one that uses a lot more traditional RPG rules and their 2D20 system that Modiphius likes in 2020. So we're actually going to have 2 versions of the role-playing game here. One that probably would work without the miniatures, but you probably would rather have the miniatures kind of thing.
Right.
And then the one in 2020 is going to be the one that's going to be our actually traditional role-playing game. And I actually think that's an interesting thing that they're doing. That's actually probably not a bad idea.
No. I'm going to let you expand on this. I got to run for 1 second. Sorry.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. The fact is that they already have established something like a light role-playing game with the Wasteland Warfare miniatures game. But they have, like... And the thing is, it still requires cards to play, they say. And a set of Wasteland Warfare dice. So it's like you can't not play it. Because we're not using a 2d20 system. We're using the Wasteland Warfare dice, which you can get on your own, and the free downloadable cards, which are the, I guess, character cards, weapon cards, which you're using in place of the miniatures game. So it's not like the version that's coming out this year will be completely disconnected from the Wasteland Warfare. It's just going to be kind of a step away from it, if you want it that way. I mean, we don't know the price point for anything yet. They haven't really told us about. I'm probably looking more forward to the actual 2D20 game. I haven't had a chance to do a lot of the modiphius games. I have the Star Trek book, so that's the only one that I've actually had more experience with, and it's a good system. I'm just curious, like, they do a pretty good job with adapting things. So I'm curious how the Fallout game will be, and how will they give us information for, I guess, converting between the two of them, because I might not take advantage of the Wasteland Warfare version of the tabletop game just because it does have to have its own set of dice. It is more based upon that miniatures game, which I never got into. Now, they got the complete rules, and it goes, again, those are the rules based on the miniatures game, rules for characters creation, archetypes, original players, all kind of working within the Fallout universe. It's going to have a lot of photographic scenes that are very Fallout-y. Creatures and characters that you might find within Fallout. They'll give you some information on it. Backgrounds on locations and factions that you might be able to use. 3 free adventures that are linked, that form a linked campaign, or can be used as short, like, one-shot missions for game masters. And some guidance for building settlements. So they're taking a little bit of that Fallout 4 route, because settlement building became something kind of big in Fallout 4. So I can understand how they're kind of leaning on that a little bit. It's not a bad idea, but again, it's... the settlement building, I think it was a mixed bag for people when it came to Fallout 4 for the game. So, I mean, in a tabletop sense, maybe it's not a bad idea, building your own settlements. I've always thought it's something you can do in a role-playing game, and this is the kind of game that maybe you'd want to have those rules in, so hey, it sounds good. And then some Game Master advices. That's going to be the initial book that we have here. They do have a 2-player starter box. It's designed... The book is designed as expansion for the Wasteland Warfare 2-player starter box. Yeah. Which is, I guess, the basics for the Wasteland Warfare game. So it's effectively for best results in this version of it, the one that's coming out this year. You really want that Wasteland Warfare. I keep calling it Warframe, which is a video game. Wasteland Warfare starter box to make it really best. So it's interesting. I guess we're looking forward to more. I definitely would like to see more on this, on how the 2 versions of it compare. Hopefully they'll give us, because modiphius can be pretty good at quick start guides, free guides to check out things. So hopefully they'll give us one on both versions of these so we can tell, and maybe even provide like a conversion rules for free. But it's one to watch out for, and I'm definitely looking forward to see where they go with this one, and see if it's something that jumps out at me as like, hey, you should get this. But anyway, so yes, the Wasteland Warfare is coming out soon, the role-playing game version of it. Keep an eye out. Hopefully we'll see some great stuff from it in the near future. But anyway, oops. Let's move on though. When Joe gets back, we'll definitely continue the. Did I readjust? No, I didn't readjust anything. For a second there, I thought I readjusted stuff. But let's get back into it. Let's continue with the next topic. If Joe has something else to add to that when he gets back, we can have him add it in. So, let's talk about our next topic, which is Nemo Rising, Robor the Conqueror. So, Nemo Rising, let's talk about it. It is a 1 to 4 game, and players assume the roles of protagonists of the, Nemo, Okay, so there's a new book about Adventures of Captain Nemo and the crew of the Nautilus called Nemo Rising. Okay, so that's just coming out soon. I didn't even notice that. I thought this was cool because it was very Jules Verne-y. But apparently they're coming out with a book based upon that. I missed that entire thing until I was reading through it again. So Nemo Rising is a book. It's originally published in 2017. It's based on, kind of Captain Nemo stuff, of course. Anyway, so you could basically play the book with Robor the Conqueror, Nemo Rising, a board game as wizkids. 1 to 4 players, assuming the role of the protagonists of this series, Captain Nemo, Sarah Duncan, Adam Fulmer, or Ulysses S. Grant, because apparently Grant's in this one. They explore new worlds, overcome dangerous obstacles, complete challenging missions. You work together. You choose to explore one of 2 scenarios. The first is the undersea grotto, where you must venture outside the Nautilus, gather supplies, while avoiding sea hydras, scavengers, a giant mechanical kraken. Oh my god. English today. Where's Joe for me?
What's a kraken?
Oh my god. I would call it a kraken. Mechanical kraken. It's supposed to be kraken. Did you have anything else to add about Fallout? I kind of think I hit most of the notes, but if there's something else,
it looks interesting. I'm a big fan of the video game, so I would definitely try the RPG.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So I was talking about Nemo Rising, which I actually had totally missed the fact that this is all about a new book that came out recently that's supposed to be about the adventures of Captain Nemo and his crew. Yeah, so it's Captain Nemo, apparently, Sarah Duncan, Adam Fuller, who I might be from the original, League's book by Jules Verne. But also, there's Ulysses S. Grant, which is apparently the protagonist in here. Why is Grant there? I really am curious. Anyway,
is this a new iteration of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and Grant's somehow one of them?
That could be it. That really could be it.
He's replaced, Sean Connery.
Yes. Sure.
I can't think of his name. His character's name.
Okay. Giving a little bit of information on the book. The reason why is Grant goes to Nemo, who was captured already at the beginning of the book. So he was in federal prison and was going to be executed, but he returns the Nautilus to him and gives him a presidential pardon if he basically stops some kind of, problem that's going on. Yep.
But he also joins him.
Yes, apparently. Or, the protagonist of the series, they say. So maybe he
is standing there with a gun, though, on the box.
It is Grant, though. You know he might do it. Grant was a madman.
Should we allow the president to really be out there?
Grant, madman. But apparently, accompanied by the beautiful niece of Grant's chief advisor, Nemo sets out undersea adventures. And I guess there's more books in the series or something. It's hard to say. But anyway, it came out a year and a half ago. So not long ago. Interesting sounding book series. I don't know if I'd read it. As I was saying, the first scenario is an undersea grotto where you battle like creatures while gathering supplies for the Nautilus while you're outside of it. The second one is a city in the sky where you thwart Robur the Conqueror and his army of foot soldiers, war dogs, and steam power creations.
Is there any giant mechanical spiders?
There's giant mechanical krakens. Does that count? It's multi-legged.
No. We need a giant mechanical spider for the Ulysses S. Grant to fight.
There may or may not be a steam-powered spider in the city in the sky. We have to find out.
Driven by a guy with no bottom half of his body left.
Probably not that.
I'm sorry.
I don't think we're that wild.
Wild, Wild West.
Oh, I should probably add the image here so people can see the game. Damn it, that is not the correct one. I love how sometimes it decides like
issues.
Well, no. It's what happens because I have to have multiple browser windows open to do this very easily.
I know.
They decide that they're going to use a different browser window that I was already on. They're like, well, you liked this browser window, but I think you like this one better. What? No, I don't.
And there's a random woman who just looks very stoic.
I think that's supposed to be the, like, secretary of something or other's niece that's joining Nemo. And I have no idea who the other characters are. Look, we don't know the book.
She has a hammer.
Sure. We don't know the books enough.
I know, but she has a hammer.
Yes. So the original novel was up on 2017, and I think... that was on hardback, an audiobook, and they're releasing a paperback version this year. So that's what they're talking about with, like, a new release. And I'm probably, if I guess if it was successful and they got a board game about it, maybe they'll see more in the series?
Yeah.
I don't know. But if you are a fan of that, great. If you're a fan of Jules Verne, this might be good to you. Granted, it's, like, a totally different story, but it's probably got a lot of that steampunk feel that you know, Jules Verne kind of established with this, with the weird creation of the Nautilus that he had.
I'd definitely be interested. I love steampunk.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear a stream cat.
Yeah.
I see a stream cat.
Damien showed up. I'm gonna raise my stream cat. Damien! Damien! Evil cat! Meow, meow, meow. She's a good girl. So she's named Damien, but whatever.
Yes.
It's
Damien the what?
The third.
Third.
You are the third cat named Damien I have known. Well, actually, technically, I didn't know Damien the first. But that's a side story. And you're licking my finger. Thank you. Is it tasty? Hi. Meow. Good kitty.
Watch out. Damien's going to eat you.
Probably. Aww. She's probably going to eat me because she's adorable.
And eat your soul.
Uh-huh.
I don't recommend that, though. It's not very tasty.
I mind if you cook it up right, it's fine. Soul can be decent fish.
No, I meant your soul.
Oh, well, I mean, you know.
I think it's dark and tainted.
Probably. There you go. Onto the bed. All right. Cat's taken care of. Back to Nemo and his... I just imagine him younger. He was also... Not younger. I mean older. God, English. Like
this might be early Nemo.
That he had been captured after, like, his first initial thing, and now he's back at it. Back at it again!
Oh, yeah. Or maybe he found the Fountain of Youth.
He could have in one of his misadventures that we don't know about. Who knows?
Exactly.
But anyway, this looks cool. It looks interesting. We only know that it's been announced. It's based on this book series. Looks interesting. We don't have the rules yet. They're planning for a September full release. So maybe we'll talk again getting closer to when it actually releases, because then we'll know more about the actual board game.
Yes.
But, like, the setting and the idea of it looks cool. I like a good cooperative game, and 1 to 4 players co-op. This looks neat. So
yeah, it looks very nice.
So Nemo Rising, expect it. We'll probably talk about it again when it gets closer to September. Oh,
when September ends?
Well, we don't know when it's going to come out in September.
I'm making a bad joke.
I'm not paying attention to your terrible jokes, so it's fine. It's fine. It's probably not as awful as
it's a Green Day joke.
See, if it's based on a song title, I am awful at song titles. so I would not recognize it.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like if you would be able to give me some lyrics or something, maybe. Just
Wake
maybe.
me up when September ends.
I'd have to see. That's why I'm not like a music trivia guy. Maybe.
Wake me up when September ends.
Lanterns dice. Lights in the sky. Yes.
As soon as I saw that, the first thing I thought was Rapunzel.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yes. Though, technically speaking, that is more of
an Asian thing, I know.
That they kind of ripped off. Well,
they used.
They used. There you go. They used an inspiration from it in a actual meaningful and it makes sense way. At least in that movie, because that movie was pretty decent. It's like most Disney animations. They're hit or miss for me, but that one I thought was fine. You know, it's something that I'm willing to sit down and watch with my niece. Like, there's other movies she suggested that I'm like, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to see it again.
Let's watch Frozen for the 1000th time.
I don't want to watch that again. The third time was way more than enough.
And Frozen 2's coming out soon.
God. Anyway. So, it's like lanterns, fireworks, all that kind of thing. Players are looking to make a spectacle even greater than just like fireworks in the sky, lanterns on the ground. So you're basically combining lights as you're kind of building them. So you want like lights on the ground with fireworks in the sky to have the most favor from the Emperor, or you gain the favor of the Emperor. So this is pre-order for this now that Renegade Studios is doing it.
Didn't they have this on display?
Oh, they might have had it on display at PAX Unplugged.
I'm pretty sure they did. It looked like an interesting game, actually.
I don't have my notebook, which would talk about what we saw at PAX Unplugged to make me know if I made notes on it. But you might have gone to Renegade Game Studios instead of me.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this one.
Oh, I think we both tried Renegade, and Renegade was impossible to talk to anybody.
It might have been.
Yeah, I remember I kept going to Renegade, and I never had a chance to talk to anybody. Because every time I saw someone that I could talk to, they were busy as all heck. They were more store and display than anything than that.
Yeah, because if you look on the bottom, it says also Fox is a co-published with Foxtrot Games.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been we saw it at Renegade, or we could have saw it on Foxtrot. I'm not sure.
Hard to say. So
it also looks a little like the Bloom game.
A little bit. So this is basically like it's harvest time, it's celebration time, and Emperor wants it to be the best harvest festival. So you're artisans and you decorate the palace lake with floating lanterns and launch fireworks into the sky. And you have to get the most honor. So I think this is actually probably, I don't know. It's hard to say if this is more Chinese or Japanese because both had an emperor.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's very Asian country. So you roll dice and choose which colored lantern players can fill on their score sheets.
You earn gifts to perform special actions.
Yeah, fill in additional colored lanterns. So it's all about filling in like various lanterns and fireworks stuff, and complete shapes with fireworks to score points and put on a spectacular show. 2 to 4 players. They're estimating 30 to 45 minutes.
10 plus.
Yeah, like $25 for this. I mean, it's like firework tiles, a bunch, like just 4 dice. It's not a lot of stuff to it, but it's a very simple game. You know?
Yeah, it looks like a simple game. I mean, it's relatively quick, 30 to 45 minutes.
And it looks like this isn't the first like lanterns they've done as a game.
Maybe that's why this one specifically says lights in the sky.
Yeah, it looks like that Harvest Festival, which was all about like filling in the lanterns on the water kind of thing, and Emperor's Gift was another one they did. And the Emperor's Gift is an expansion to Harvest Festival.
Yeah, I see Lanterns World, Lanterns, yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess this is another standalone in the other thing, because it's combining some of the elements of the other ones, but making it like a mixture of things. Like the other ones is more about like I have a lantern display, you know, kind of thing. This is more I have a little bit of a lantern display, but I also have some fireworks. You know.
Lantern works.
So it's kind of interesting that they've been, because I thought we kind of talked about something like this before, and I think we talked about one of the either the original or the expansion before.
Right.
Because this sounded familiar, and I'm like, did we preview this previously? And I'm no, I think this is different than the last one we talked about. It's just the fact that it's kind of hard to tell them apart.
And we might have seen the original lanterns or something too.
Yeah.
At one of the PAX things. Maybe that's why it's also ringing a bell.
Yeah. It could have been like the year before too.
So could this one be lanterns can explode?
I guess so.
Into fireworks?
Into fireworks. Well, I guess it's technically separated, but we can pretend they explode into fireworks. Maybe that's where you hide the fireworks, so that like eventually like the lantern, like the lamp part will burn down to where the fireworks is, so the lanterns will shoot out fireworks. That'd actually be kind of cool.
There you go.
Someone, please do that. Have fireworks linked to lanterns, so the lantern will like glow for a while, and like timed out at a certain point in time, all of them will fire off fireworks in like a certain order or something. It would be complex and ridiculous, but I would love to see that. That'd be
kind of like with dogs with bees in their mouth.
Except less defensive and more a show.
Yes,
because that one's shooting the bees out to like dissuade intruders.
Yes, it's a 2-for-1 special.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so lanterns, dice, lights in the sky, which I guess this is also more of a dice game, which the other ones probably weren't because they don't call them dice.
Yeah, this the other ones had cards. So I looked at them.
Yes, they're more card games. This is more dice game too. Okay, so that's a big difference. But lanterns, dice, lights in the sky. Yeah, you can pre-order it now. It should be coming soon. To a local game store or online near you. Let's hit the next one. So, next topic to talk about is Usaoploy has just been announcing a whole crap ton of stuff, it seems, lately. We got another one from them when we were just talking about them announcing something, I think it was last week, with the weird monopolies.
Yes.
And the weird clue, the It clue. Granted, we also sort of talked about their It card game that they were working on, which is neat. But this is basically a version of Talisman. I have heard of Talisman, but I know very little about it as a board game.
Right. I've heard of the Talisman board game. I think I've seen it, but I've never played it.
That's okay. So, like a 5th edition, they've had 4 editions of them so far. There's a 5th edition one that was announced, but it's been delayed. It was announced for 2017, but I guess it hasn't come out yet. Yeah, there's been a lot of like expansions on it and a lot of things. Yeah. Anyway, so it's like a board game that I don't know a lot about. And it seems like Usaoploy is about making licensed versions of classic games. And so they're doing a Batman version of it. So that's, I mean, they're taking something that was fantasy and making it much different. Okay. So, yeah. The project at large is Talisman Batman Super Villains Edition. So there might be a Heroes Edition and a Villains Edition, but that's the one that they're basically focusing on, that we're talking about here, is the villain one. Which is motives and strategies distinctive to the city's insane asylum, and it's like a breakout, I guess. So it's villains are trying to get out of Arkham Asylum. So you're taking on the role of Gotham's most notorious evildoers, sneaking and fighting their way through Arkham Asylum's 2 floors and Central Tower to be the first to subdue Batman. Oh my god, it's like the poker thing, except they're all... or wasn't there a thing where Batman was in Arkham or something, and they were trapped with all of them? I think the series had that.
Also, one of the video games had that.
Yeah, so it's the classic fantasy tabletop. It focused on building health, strength, and cunning as the Cape Crusaders' enemies. It's 2 to 6 players, ages 13 up, and you got to be the king or queen of the criminal underworld. They got some custom illustrations from some of the artwork from the newer Batman series. Is 13 plastic figures, 100 encounter cards, 6-sided dice, and some stat boards. So this is an interesting one, because not only are we doing a version of a classic kind of fantasy board game with a setting that can have fantasy, but is more detective / superhero. But we're also taking the role of villains, which is very interesting.
It looks like a very interesting game. Where I found it, the one little screenshot they have of it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of information on it other than the announcements. And I am curious, because they do specifically say this is the super villain edition, if they will do a Batman like more hero edition. Because I mean, you have Batman, but you also have like Bat Family or people that are like heroes associated with Batman more than on their own too. So I'm not sure. Yeah. It's very interesting, and I guess it's like it probably has a lot of Arkham Asylum, like the video game feel, because we're set in the Arkham Asylum and trying to escape it, which is kind of interesting. I'm curious about it. I'm probably more curious than I would be, if I heard about like Talisman 5th edition. That'd be like, oh cool, they're updating a classic. I've heard of the classic, never played it. Neat. That's why like we've heard they've said stuff on Talisman 5th edition, but it's been like put into some kind of development hell, I guess, or it might not happen.
Right now, 4th edition's the last one they have.
Yeah.
Okay. I do remember looking at the box for this. For like Talisman.
Probably 4th edition.
Yeah. I'm looking at the 4th edition box right now. I'm like, yeah, I've seen this in the game stores before.
Yeah, so, and it's got like a lot, it looks like Fantasy Flight was providing expansions for Talisman up through 2016. So they actually probably ended right around the time that we stopped. It looks like there was a revised version that Fantasy Flight, when they took over Talisman, did.
Right.
A revised 4th edition on September 17, 2008, and up through 2016. They don't say when Cataclysm came out in 2016, but it was the last one that came out right around the time our show started. So we wouldn't have talked about it. And 5th edition, I mean, it was announced for 2017 and then delayed, and haven't heard anything about it. But it's a 36-year-old game. I mean, that's kind of impressive that they've had as many additions and updates as it is. And it's cool that they're coming out with something pretty interesting here, with like a version of it that's quite different. I feel like they're using the IP better than they did on It, with It Clue. Like,
yeah.
It Monopoly, it's Monopoly. You can add a couple things that are like themed to that, definitely. Maybe like there's more negative connotations to certain spaces and stuff too, and things like that. I feel like, things can be done in a Monopoly version that keep it relatively simple, relatively Monopoly, but might theme yourself very easily to it. Clue, no. This one, because I'm unsure, I'm not as familiar with like Talisman as itself, and we don't see a lot of it. It's hard to say how much it relates to the original Talisman. It might just be like the way it's formatted connects to Talisman as the original game, of building a character, exploring like a couple levels of a dungeon, and getting to a certain point in time, like maybe beating like some kind of villain. this case, it's beating the hero up. You know?
Yeah.
So, no. It's interesting.
Yeah, it definitely sounds interesting.
Definitely looking forward to seeing more of it, too, and figuring out if it's something we want to check out at some point. Anyway, so, Talisman Batman Supervillains Edition. It's coming this summer, so it's not far off, and maybe we'll talk about it more getting into the summer when we see more about it, because it does seem like much more of an interesting one than some of the other things.
Yeah.
Let's move on, though, because we do have a couple more topics I do want to talk about. Let's talk about Detective, and in particular the new expansion that they've talked about, LA Crimes. So, I think I've heard of the Detective game before, but I don't know a whole lot about it. Oh, geez, I'm trying to, like, set up the image here and messing it up completely. Look at me go.
Yeah, while you do that, Detective LA Crimes is the first campaign expansion for the Detective, a modern crime board game. These are 3 separate cases that come together to form a story. Travel to California to delve deep into the drug-filled Los Angeles of the 1980s.
I've seen a Detective board game before, but I've never had a chance to play it. Like, I've seen this box before. It's very interesting one-on-one. It's 1 to 5 players, takes the role of investigators. They really recommend 3 best. It's a long game, though, so that's the only thing about it. It's like, they say 2 to 3 hours is the time to play it. They have 5 different cases that connect together. Break the 4th wall while using every resource you can. And they've got a dedicated database simulating your agency's resources, which is kind of cool. I guess, like, they've got a whole database of information setting up their world. And, you know, the cases pertain to the information that you'll find in that world that you're building on. So that's actually kind of cool. You enter the city city maze of old mysteries, fresh crime, and you cooperate with the other agents or solve the mystery on your own. Okay. So it's a modern setting. Definitely a detective kind of crime thing. It's been out since... I'm missing the date for show full credits. 2018. It came out last year.
Oh, wow.
There's definitely a lot of board games we miss talking about, unfortunately, just because of the nature of finding out about all of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't hit every single one. There's hundreds of board games that come out all the time.
Yeah, Portal games. I've heard of Portal games, but maybe I should start checking into them more often, especially since we noticed this one as a expansion.
Right.
So yeah, this is focusing on LA crime. Your version of what kind of LA characters. There's a lot of, like, crime shows. I mean, like, I guess they're taking some... They say they're taking influence from, like, Beverly Hills Cop, which was a very...
Nice.
That's the thing. If Beverly Hills Cops, I always thought was a good series because it had a right amount of mystery and a little bit of comedy too. Because, like, Detective Foley, he was the kind of guy that, you know, he broke the ice with comedy. He made himself to make out a goof, so no one, like, actually knew that he was a really good detective. You know,
yeah.
He was the unexpected guy. So it's like most of the comedy of that entire series came from him and his interactions with things. So it's like there's controversial methods to solve your case. Red tape bureaucracy. So this is, like, very, like, classic, like, 80s, 90s, maybe even 70s detective work. So a little off of the modern one that we've been doing, that they were doing with the detective game before. It's, again, 1 to 5 players. It's kind of campaign-based. I'm unsure if you need to play it with the base game. That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one either.
Yeah, 3 different...
It says it's the first campaign expansion, so I'm not sure.
The thing is, maybe it uses some of the basic information from the original database that they kind of set up of like, information. Because I'm pretty sure the way that they...
It kind of makes me think of almost like time stories.
Yes. Well, yeah, where you kind of need the base game, but maybe kind of not too in a way.
Right.
It's very interesting that way. It looks like it's got its own set of cards because it looks like the cards are kind of where you get the database from, the case decks with all the information. Oh, okay, so it's got like case decks that each case deck kind of provides cards which you're using to find information out, and kind of like database things, I guess, is figuring out what you can reference and where. It's actually kind of interesting. I would love to try one of these. They take forever. It would have to be like on its own stream or something, not like on a Sunday, definitely. Maybe
Right.
plan ahead of time for it. 5 double-sided character cards, double-sided game boards, 3 cases, the own rule book. Yeah, I almost feel like the way you're looking at it is the core of the game. Maybe you don't need the other thing. They got some new mechanics, general knowledge, the story, core game breakdown. Huh. I'm trying to like figure this out here, and it just... Oh, here we go. I'm going to look at the rulebook and see if it says, you need the base game to play this.
Yes. There you go.
Mm-hmm. It just says, it's an expansion for Detective of Modern Crime board game. It has the same concepts and uses the base rules with a few changes depicted in the rulebook. Huh. I guess maybe you don't need the base game. I don't know. Odd. Yeah, it's kind of... It just... I like it when they're up front with telling you, like, you need this or you don't need this. And I just don't see a spot where they're telling me I need it. And that's, I guess, an unfortunate thing here. That makes it a little confusing. Yeah. Okay. So this is the full expansion. Apparently they did have mini expansions to the detective base game of like some extra cases. Like case 6, I guess. So where can I find the rules is a good question in my brain that I am trying to look through their website here, and it's not... Those are reviews. That's not helpful.
Yeah, I was able to find it on Board Game Geek, so...
How many pages are there basic rules? Or is that the LA one?
Well, no, this is the LA one I was talking about. And they didn't have the rule book for that one.
I found it on their site, the detective one.
Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you need to play it together. Again, it's interesting. LA Crime looks pretty cool. I mean, I would be careful and look into...
I would assume it would say on the box itself.
Yeah, it doesn't say you need the base game to play it. Yeah, like if you look at all the box pictures, which unfortunately we don't have a picture of all the sides of the box.
Right.
They say it's expansion, so I just get the feeling that maybe you need the base game, even though they don't really say it. They don't say it's a standalone expansion.
Yeah, exactly. If it's just saying expansion, I would assume
you need the base game.
You would need the base game.
I love it when they say that you do and you don't, or you don't, and it's one of those times that I was desperate for them to say it, and they did not. Yep. They did not, unfortunately.
I'm assuming from what I'm seeing that it comes with and what the base game comes with. it looks like you would need the base game. Because it's just saying it's coming with 3 new cases, 5 new characters. Comes with 108 cards, 3 cases, 5 double-sided character cards, double-sided game board, and the rule book. But the original game came with more pieces, came with like specific pieces and stuff.
Yeah, so maybe it uses some of the pieces from the original one to flesh out what it's got. Basically, we have to think of that less as like because it's based around the cases. Yeah. And the cases might be hard to. It's sort of like kind of like with time stories. It might not be as easy to replay the cases. Maybe there is some randomization, but there's basically like things that you have to provide with them. And in this case, it's a bunch of new cases.
There's also a Detective Alexa edition.
All right, then. So, now that we've gotten through that entire mess of figuring that out, sort of, yeah. LA Crimes, Detective. Detective seems like a cool one. Seems like an interesting one. I would love to try that out sometime. I don't know when I would have to 2 to 3 hours, and I'm curious if it's 2 to 3 hours per case, or for doing all the cases.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, the things that I'm not seeing that comes with the new one, the expansion, is 17 skill tokens, 30 character tokens, 9 special tokens, and the 3 wooden markers.
So it's like base stuff, but it's stuff that's probably would be helpful to have.
Yeah, so it is. I think it is a true expansion.
Yeah, it's like it gives us new characters that we can play with, some extra rules, and it gives us 3 entirely new cases. Like the original box came with, here's 5 cases in here. Each deck of cards is a case that you can play.
Yeah, I'm assuming it is a lot like Time Stories in the playability aspect. It's probably once you've played through the cases.
It's hard to play through them again?
It's hard to play, yeah. Because it's like, oh, well, we know the base beats of this.
Yeah.
So it might be why they came out with, expansion now that, hey, here's some more cases so you can keep playing with this.
And an interesting setting. Because they did say they came out with a mini expansion before, which was just basically a case. It was, as they call it, the 6th case. So. Check it out if you like a detective story. I would say this one. I feel like Time Stories is fun, but I never feel like I'm unsure if I get my money's worth because it's hard to replay it. This one, I feel like maybe you get more of your money's worth because it has 6 cases. Or, I'm sorry, 5 cases, 6 with the mini expansion, and here's another 3. I feel like with the expansions here, we're getting more of our money's worth.
Yeah, instead of one more adventure for every $30 you spend.
Hey, $30, I'm getting like 3 adventures.
Right, with time case,
Time Stories is 30 to 1.
$30 for one day.
How much was this? They were selling it for. They've got the pre-order up on their site. I walked away from it for a second. $30 to pre-order now.
Yeah, so you're getting $30 for a few cases instead of just like one extra case.
It's like $10 a case instead of $30 a adventure. So
I think I think that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, so much better. And maybe there is some replayable aspects to it that we don't know about because we can't check everything out. Maybe there is something. There is a randomization aspect that allows you to play through them as a campaign and possibly do it again sometime. Right. We don't know enough. But in and of itself, it looks very cool. It looks very interesting. I'm sad that we missed the original. It kind of missed our radar. But now at least we know about the LA Crimes one. We know about both of them. And I would say check them out. It's cool. Interesting. Try see if it would be interesting enough to you. Read the box. Check out some reviews, that thing. Put it in your wheelhouse. So, one more main topic to go over today. Another announcement. Announcement from Plat Hat Games. So, Quirky Circuits, which is a weird one because it's taking on like a electrical theme, but it's also taking on like a weird animal theme, it looks like.
There's a kitty riding a Roomba.
Yes. That's one of the characters. There's like mechanical dog, kitty riding a Roomba. They show a little actual dust bunny there.
Yep, and like, a robot.
A robot, and then like a gyroscopic robot. So I guess the Roomba is technically the robot, and the dog is technically the robot, and the cat's just along for a ride. I guess.
The dust bunny might be just something that the Roomba is trying to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might not be an actual thing.
So this is coming soon. It's been announced. You're trying to get your friendly robot buddy to finish a task, playing cards in order to program it to do that. So it's a programming game. Probably a simplistic programming game, because complex programming games, I don't see them very often in the version of board games or card games. That could get a little too ridiculous. Excuse me. Your opponents are going to be doing the same, programming their robots. You're never quite sure what card programs they've put into the mix. Oh, I guess you've got a number of robots that all of you are programming together, so
yeah,
you know,
and you're trying to get them to finish your task before their battery runs out.
Yeah, so it's 2 to 4 players programming robot buddies, and you never know what people contribute, and it's 21 scenarios of increasing intensity to work together. So basically, I'm guessing each of you has your... I'm not sure how cooperative it is, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe it is fully cooperative, that you're just all trying to program the robot buddy. You never know what you're all, like, putting forth towards it. A bunch of different robots, 4 different robots, the ones that we talked about.
I think it's more cooperative. It looks like it's more cooperative that you're all trying to the house.
Yeah, like clean the house or something.
Because, like, the cat riding the Roomba is trying to get the dust bunnies that are wreaking havoc. Twirl's garden can't grow with pesky ants stealing the seeds. Sparky the dogs. Sparky is a dog archaeologist on a mission to dig up exhibits for the museum. And poor Leafy has cats demanding portions of his finest sushi.
Wow.
I'm guessing that's the robot with the bandana.
Yeah. The one that's like the very robot-y looking robot.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got the rule book. So you might have checked some things from the scenario book there from that one. It's got a hand size. Let's see, the robot figures. Players cannot ever communicate with any of the following verbal. They can't tell what cards are in their hands, what their strategy or intent, or suggest what cards players should play. You can talk just normally other than that, but those 3 things, you can't do, which is kind of interesting. So everybody puts down cards to program, they execute the programs, and then reset.
And there's 21 scenarios of increasing intensity.
Yeah. So I'm guessing they're based upon the different robots, too. So you all win. It is a cooperative, so you all win or lose together.
Yeah, if you don't fix the house, you're screwed.
Yeah, and you can get more difficulty by changing where the battery marker starts. You have less battery, maybe, to do it.
I just think it's funny we have a robo-dog archaeologist.
Yes. For the true experts, complete each scenario goal while the battery is still in the green. Oh, so basically, for a greater challenge, you have to complete it before it gets the battery gets to certain points of time. So it starts at full, and I guess it goes down to...
After so many moves, it goes down, I'm guessing.
Yeah, to yellow or to red or something, and then out. And so they're saying, like, the more challenging is to, like, complete it before it goes to certain points of times.
Okay.
It's an interesting little game that they've kind of announced here. I like the entire programming aspect. It's really relatively simple. You know, people play cards, and you don't know what people are playing. You know, it's a... You kind of have to predict or guess what people might play, kind of things, right. Which is really hard to do in order to get it correct, you know?
Yes. But that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
And part of, what makes it difficult.
Yes, definitely. So it's very interesting. They do recommend, like with younger children, practice a little bit the way it's played with the 3 different aspects of program, execute, reset. It's definitely a cute little game. I will say that. It's got like really cute little art. The little kitty on top of the Roomba is adorable, I do have to say. And the little dust bunny thing that they've got there is adorable. Like, you can see it right there, both of them on the stream there. I mean, even the robot dog's pretty cute. The little robot dog looks like it's traditional, like, like little robot Fido's got a bandana on. I like this. It's got some interesting art.
Yeah.
And they come with a decent amount of stuff. I do not see where they say how much it's going for.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, let me check something.
Oh, pre-order. So you can pre-order today, so I can check that.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Is going into pre-order.
They need to sign into Asmodee to get that.
I got it. It's $49.95.
Okay.
So it's $50.
Might be worth it. It's hard to say at that one because it's got the figures, pretty nice looking art, pretty decent material to it.
And the thing is, it does have 21 scenarios.
Yeah, I guess
so. There's a lot of playability there. So
and you can replay the scenarios too. I mean, that's the thing is each scenario probably has their different challenges. So each of the scenarios is probably replayable with different people because you never know what kind of cards they're going to be. How things are going to end up.
Right.
So.
Okay, so your battery starts at 11 and can go down to 0.
Okay.
And it looks like 7 is the last full green, and 6 is like a half green, half yellow.
Okay. Interesting. Well, yeah. Quirky Circuits is available for pre-order now if you're interested in checking it out yourself.
Yes. And Plat Hat does a good job, so...
Plat Hat does some good things, so definitely could recommend checking out what Plat Hat is up to. Alright, let's move on to our regular segments, because we got through all of our basic topics. Yay!
Ooh.
Let's start with a deeper discussion. I don't think we did anything new last week, did we?
No, because we had the snowstorm, so we didn't do anything on Saturday, and Sunday we pretty much did Kill Dr. Lucky.
Yeah, Kill Dr. Lucky, that's an interesting story on its own, but I guess let's do our Kickstarter corner, and then we'll do our Week in Tabletop, where we can talk Kill Dr. Lucky, because there's some definitely things to talk about with that game.
Okay. I have a few things here.
Okay.
One I wanted to mention. One I was talking about last week, Fight Your Friends, I actually did back.
Cool.
And it has reached goal. It's a little above it. It's at 6,861 out of its 5,000 goal. It's a little less than 700 to its first stretch, because the first stretch is at 7 for a logo sticker.
Neat.
But they have some really other good stretch goals, so hopefully, I'm really hoping that some of those are met.
Yeah.
But again, it was only a $25 pledge with shipping, so
yep,
not bad at all. And it still has 38 days to go.
Neat.
I had 2 I just wanted to kind of mention.
All right.
One that's kind of funny, Trumps and Ladders.
Okay.
You're trying to cross the American border from Mexico and not get caught by Donald Trump.
Okay.
I just thought it was kind of funny.
I'm going to stay out of it. I'm going to keep on political.
That's fine. And then I wanted to mention one that would be up your alley, definitely.
Ooh.
The Veil Inheritance Biopunk tabletop role-playing game.
Okay.
So it seems, it's kind of that futuristic RPG with enhancements and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I know you love. I always want to say steampunk, not steampunk. I always want to say the one I really like.
Yes.
Instead of the one you like.
I am more cyberpunky. Yes.
Cyberpunk. Yeah. Or
yes.
No, I'm more cyberpunk. You're more Cyberpunk's the game that I like.
Yes, Cyberpunk as the theme.
Right, but I meant the actual RPG that
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun. Thank you.
Shadowrun's still a cyberpunk system, but it's a cyberpunk fantasy.
I cut my teeth on Cyberpunk as my first role-playing game. Mm-hmm. So I like the genre. It's just I like Cyberpunk a little bit more, and you like the other one a little bit more.
True.
But it's a similar type game. I think it's interesting, like the base classes. You have the Clipper, who's a target eliminator, the Custodian, who protects the crew, the Linker, who tracks down a target, the Mirror, that spies and infiltrates. They actually can copy what someone looks like and sounds like exactly. And the Sparrow, who builds things and strategizes.
Neat.
But yeah, and it has that kind of 1980s almost artwork-ish with like neon colors and stuff.
Cool.
So that one's actually really doing well. It's 4,000. Its goal. Oh no. Yeah. No. Pledge. Yeah. The pledge goal was 4,473, and it's at 15,602, with 22 days to go. So if you're into that genre, you definitely might want to check it out. Mm-hmm. I will put the link in chat. Paste. And the last one I wanted to talk about was Aether and Steamworks. Yep. That one looked really interesting. Steampunk type game. Mm-hmm. The character sheets look interesting. It seems to also have a interesting fact, like one of the characters is a mouse. Another one looks like a goblin, so you definitely have some weird and interesting character choices. Mm-hmm. Overall, it looked like an interesting game. I have a bunch of shout-outs this week. Nothing that you're like particular.
You know, like nothing you're diving too super deep in, but some things that you thought were cool to take a check out at.
Yeah, okay. And that one's 56 days ago. I think it literally just started.
Oh yeah, if it just started, then you got quite a while to keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, it started Sunday, May. It's Sunday. It's goal by Sunday, May 5th. So yeah, but if it has 56 days ago, it pretty much just started. It's at 209 out of its 7,500.
Cool.
And link in chat coming up.
Neat. Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. So those are some cool ones to check out if you're interested in looking. I actually don't have I normally go for a role-playing game, but I actually don't have one this week. I
covered that this week.
You did cover that this week. I have a card game. Wizard Kittens!
Oh, God.
They're kittens who are wizards. They're cats in little hats. It's adorable looking. It's funded. It's funded by a bunch. 2 to 4 players.
Funded on the first day.
It's semi-cooperative set collection card game. You're playing as a kitten who's accidentally released a few curses in the library's restricted section. The library is supposed to be like a place of quiet contemplation. There's no noise, no playing, no yarn, and definitely no magic. But you have to kind of defeat the curses fast before you're caught by the librarian. Which they have the name Professor Whisper, which is awful.
Yes, and Chaos Cat.
Uh-huh. Yep. They've got kitten mats like Muffin, Bebe, Grumpkin, and Aza.
Why are the kitten heads poking out of pieces of bread?
Where?
If you scroll down, there's pictures of kittens with their heads poking out of bread.
Oh, I'm missing this picture.
For how to win.
Oh, God. I don't know why. That is very odd. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, they have the one on the box as Cinder, the Kickstarter exclusive character.
Yeah.
Too.
I also like the Kickstarter exclusive box over their standard box.
Oh, yeah, the magical edition?
Yeah. The black box looks awesome.
Yeah. it still has that like kind of like little like cutesy kitty kind of look to it, but it has that kind of like that's like dark magic mixture with like cute kittens kind of thing. It feels a lot more, you're messing with witchistry and curses that you shouldn't as a kitten, because apparently kitten wizards. They have a
Wizards.
Yes, they have an expansion of magical monsters. They have an exclusive pack. They have a tiny plushie apparently of that cat reading a book, because yes. The $35 gets you the magical edition, the expansion, the Kickstarter pack, and the exclusive cat character Matt and token for Cinder. $65 is what gets you the plush. Probably something. I don't know if it gives you anything else other than the plush, but $30 for the plush is like around the price for them a lot of times.
Yeah. Especially an exclusive plush.
Yes.
It's not like you're going to find that in a store.
Nope. Thank God. I am unsure how much, like, it's hard to understand their... What?
You need to show this one to Blaze.
That's true. They have a lot of funded, like, stretch goals and stuff like that.
Ooh, the magical monster expansion has a cute puppy version of Cerberus.
Yes, I saw that.
With a tennis ball in its mouth. Or a glowing magical orb.
Uh-huh. They've got a lot of, like, weird... Like, it's hard to tell all the different rewards and stuff in here, but it's definitely interesting. It's a complex thing of rewards. I'm going to say that there.
Oh, God. Social stretch goals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
complexity. Complexity is never necessary. It's not necessarily a problem. It's just, like... It makes me kind of like the eyes glaze over when trying to understand like how your stretch goals work.
Well, it has a new curse and chaos cat rule right now.
They probably have more. I mean, they've hit their goal.
Well, that's what they've hit. That's what I'm saying. That's what the one they hit, because that one's shaded in.
Yeah, but I'm saying they might have hit more. It's just hard to understand the entire complexity of what they're showing off there.
Yeah. Well, it looks like when they hit one, they shade it.
But anyway.
So yeah.
Getting back to it, it's got 21 days to go. It is certainly funded. It's reached 200%. Oh, I'm sorry, 400% funded. They only went 5,000. They got over 20,000 now. So they probably are going to have a whole bunch of stuff as to Kickstarter like exclusives that for the $35 you get them all. So I mean, great. I would suggest. Well, I think the thing is like. The 35 gets you the magical edition, the special edition, and the monster expansion. Though normally you get the Kickstarter stuff. You get the token for 20, the Cinder token and the character mat, and the Kickstarter exclusive pack. So I mean, it's up to you what you want to go for.
And apparently, there's regular play and advanced play because the character mats are two-sided.
Oh, cool. So this is like an interesting little card game that has like a very cute exterior, definitely, and I think that's kind of why it's interesting. Like they have ritual cards, curse cards, and all that kind of stuff. It's balloon infernal snail, man.
Oh God! And at the bottom it says thanks for the Wizard Kittens team, and it shows them all as kitten, like their kitten avatars.
Mm-hmm.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting, adorable little game. So
yes.
I saw it and I'm like, I could talk about this. Cute little cat game.
And it's semi-cooperative.
Yes, meaning that I guess you can work to. It's like
I think you're working together to get the curses
taken
cleaned up that you've opened.
Yeah,
but whoever probably gets all their stuff done.
Yeah,
wins.
It's I would say it's similar to how you can play Castle Panic fully cooperative or semi-cooperative. Like Castle Panic, you can play that whoever kills the most things is the overall winner, or you could just not keep track of that. You know.
And I just saw their pledge total go up.
Ooh, someone pledged. Anyway, so Wizard Kittens, check it out, Kickstarter. Anyway, let's move on though, because we were talking about our week in tabletop. Hey, let's start out with the basics. We didn't play last Saturday with us two meeting. So we ended up playing on Sundays at Tabletop where we played Kill Dr. Lucky. And the thing is, Kill Dr. Lucky, it was all right.
It was interesting. We had the most amount of players we've had for it.
I think because we were playing a version that was at max 7 players, we had 7 players. Like, normally you can also play up to 8 players with a different version of the game, but there's a couple of versions. We were playing Paizo's version, which I think we were missing some of the rules, because I was able to find a different versions of the rules, which is the problem. It might have been just minor stuff, but it might have been things that might have sped things along with the number of players and stuff, too. But I think 7 players was too many for the game. I think, like, 4 or 5 players probably would have been the ideal amount of players.
Yeah, I think also we didn't spend enough time drawing cards a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I think the one rule which is interesting, every time you miss him, you get a bonus. And I think that's part of the slowdown.
Yeah.
Because it encourages you to really try to keep killing him, to keep getting a bonus to the next time you try. If that aspect wasn't there and you only got it from cards, I think it would speed up the game. Well, speed up the people trying to draw, and then it would get to the point where lights out, which would also speed up the game.
Yeah, no.
So
I don't know. It's an interesting thing that Paizo did that, and I don't know if they've provided like a rule set specifically.
Right.
So, I don't know.
It was interesting. We had some fun. We've got 2 games out of it.
I think it could have been a lot more fun, though, is the only problem. Because I feel like it was just... There was a lot of...
There was a lot of sitting around.
Yeah, too much sitting around, because it was like... The nature of the game, there was too many players. Especially because people can take over turns.
Yeah, so then you have someone who sits there for like 3 or 4 turns.
Yeah.
3 or 4 times that their turn would have come up, and it's like, oh.
Like, there was things that we added to the game, like the stories of like the failures and murder attempts of Dr.
But that
Lucky.
was fun.
That was the fun we added to the game, you know? So, Kill Dr. Lucky, it's an interesting game. I've played it with 2 players. We've played it before. Yeah. I feel like if you're looking to play it, look for 4 or 5 at most. Like, that's kind of where your sweet spot probably is for the game. I definitely wouldn't recommend with more players, though. But it was an interesting game. I did...
Did you have Legacy this week?
I think I did. I'm trying to remember. My brain is a little bled. This week has been a bled kind of brain week, I have to say.
Yeah, same here, actually. I know we did Madness.
Yes, we did Legacies this week, too.
Okay.
So, Legacies, now that I'm thinking about it finally, it took them to finally leaving Romania and heading to India, where they had some misadventures while trying to hire a translator, eventually managed to meet with the person they were looking for, and learned that that person doesn't have the swords. They learned the 2 locations of the 2 swords. The Sword of Dracula, the supposed location of it, and then the sister sword to that, which was under the lady that they met with. She had it. Now, she had been in Russia, they learned, but abandoned it when Russia went to crap, supernaturally. Effectively, like, the figurehead that had been in charge of it, Baba Yaga, got murdered around the same time the ravenous antediluvian did, and then, using that as an excuse for all-out war, werewolves moved in. And so werewolves control that territory now, pretty much. And so they're like, well, you can either go to one of 2 territories, and they're trying out her area. So they're going to... I'm forgetting the name of the country, but it's one of the former Soviet states, at least for now. Okay. For one of these 2 swords. Yay. And then in Madness, we started out with a mostly new team of characters. Signy returns. We don't know what happened to the rest of the team that she was with.
We retired my old character.
Yep. And got...
Rufus.
We got a set of interesting characters that I feel have an interesting dynamic already, have much better connection to the city. Like, we already have things going on with Signy that are very interesting. We have the dynamic, that fact that she's like a fallen noble, and then we have a full noble, so she really kind of dislikes Unfunny One's character. Well, Unfunny One kind of like is like, oh, you were born of noble blood, which is actually all I said to her, that she was born of noble blood. I did not say she was a current noble. you know?
Yeah.
Which is true. She
hates being referred to as a lady.
Yeah, she lost her noble title pretty much in everything that happened, and doesn't like talking about it as the character, doesn't like discussing things the horrible traumatic past that basically occurred along with that. So it's bringing it up. So it's very interesting, the dynamic, and you've started out the adventure, you met a lizard creature, you killed it. Whether or not you kill the rest of them or somehow make peace, that is an interesting thing, and I'm curious as to what you'll try to do.
Yes.
Since one of you understood the Draconic and the fact that it thinks you guys are basically attacking it, and that's why it attacked you. Also, it did not believe a word that, your creepy dwarf said because it was being stabbed at the time and held down. I mean, it's like...
I don't know what you're talking about. And I realized I'm in a pack of mutants.
Yes. Well, the dwarf is just a normal dwarf. He's just weird.
Yes, but you know what I mean. Everyone changes, and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Mm-hmm. And then you have the Ganassi, who's a barbarian, so he gets all kind of barbarian-y. And then you have Signy, who she hides her true form all the time because she doesn't...
Yes.
I guess she doesn't like it. She uses warlock powers to look like a normal person.
But I think you're right. It's a really good group, and I think we are on a good path again.
Yep. So let's see. We'll hope that things are back on track with Madness.
Agreed.
That was our week in tabletop. Now we're coming to our final segment that we have every week. That if you out there in the audience have a question for us, it's Consult the Table. So this is a point where anybody in chat can ask us a question, or... which I must apologize with if you are a YouTube person. I'm actually a month behind on Discussing Tabletops for putting them up on YouTube. But if you put them on in the comments of a YouTube video of one of these, any of them, or you could send it to either of our Twitters, which are down below, at Dracovin for me, at JWSeeker81 for Joe, in my Discord, which is linked below, or you could even email us at discussingtabletop@yahoo.com. Any of these options, you could send us some kind of question that you would like to consult with us. If it's something we can answer at the point in time where we can talk about it just there, we will. If it's something that we feel like is a good one to discuss on the show here, we probably will bring it up. We'll let you know and bring it on the show here and discuss it as something that we can help you and maybe others out with. So, consult the table. I guess that's it for today. It was a nice full show. Good. We had some cool topics, some cool things to talk about, interesting Kickstarters to look at, interesting games coming up. So as usual, though... What?
Yeah. I was going to say, we'll see everyone tomorrow, though.
Yes, for Sundays at Tabletop, we are on schedule for it. I'm going to be trying to message out people if they're interested for tomorrow today, because I've been bad at that kind of thing. A little bit of ahead of time planning. Maybe. Possibly. Yeah. But thanks, Joe, once again for joining me. Thanks, everyone who's popped around either to watch this on YouTube or here on Twitch Live. We'll see you next Saturday, same time, same tabletop time, same tabletop place, channel. Yep. I did a little bit of 60s Batman there.
Yes.
So, anyway, bye, folks.
Bye, everyone.